All right, guys, back at it again with another K1 Speed GP Challenge. This is the July round, so 7 down, 5 more to go of the 2022 K1 GP Challenge in Wilmington, Mass, or the Boston League. Yeah, stick around for this one. This is going to be a good one. A lot of intense battles on track. I think you guys are going to like it.
Feet off the pedals. Good to go.
All right, so this is the first of 2 qualifying rounds. Again, if you haven't watched this before, we do 2 qualifying rounds and then 1 race, and we take the your best time from either of the 2 qualifying sessions, and then that determines the starting order of the race. This night was very different, actually. There were like barely anybody there. It was the 3rd of July, so a day before the holiday weekend, long weekend. Presumably, a lot of people traveling are just not had other priorities over go-karting, which is totally fine. But normally there are 3 groups. Tonight there were only 2 groups. I think there were like 14 people, so very few people. You'll see we ended up only doing having 2 groups in all 3 sessions, including the race, which was interesting. So this round, I'm just trying to get a feel for this kart. No surprise, even before we started the night this round, one of the mechanics said, be prepared. A lot of the cars are going to be all over the place, and she was right. The cars were absolute trash, like, yeah. I mean, which is kind of to be expected. It's K1 Speed. I mean, something always goes wrong, but this time around, yeah, it was no exception here. The cars were, oftentimes you get kind of drift karts. So really what I'm doing here is I'm really trying to be aggressive with my inputs. This car slid around a lot, so I try to counter that by having a lot of kind of micro inputs and kind of really sharp, aggressive little turns to kind of get the car to continue to turn. Because if I held the steering wheel at one angle throughout the turn, it wasn't going to turn. So I had to keep giving the wheels grip. And as you can see here, someone passed me here. Which isn't typical on qualifying. Normally I don't have people pass me. I mean, it's just for anyone to be passed on qualifying, you have to be going pretty slow or have an issue with your kart, and that's exactly what happened here. But there's no point in holding someone up here. I easily got out of the way. So yeah, I was just trying to manage a very unruly kart here with a totally different steering input style to kind of get the car to get some grip and to turn, because again, if I just held the steering wheel without really jerking it as I do here, I wasn't going anywhere. So this session, we certainly don't have to watch it all, but it was not my best because again, the kart was just really poor performing. I don't remember what time I ended up getting. Actually, after this first session, most people had like very slow times across the board. I was no exception. I think I was like 21, 7 or 8, something really high. Just bad kart all around. So yeah, the first qualifying session was not that great. But yeah, let's see what we can do in the next session. All right, second of the 2 qualifying rounds, starting behind a few people here. Just wanting to create a little bit of gap here. So again, new kart, trying this kart out. Let's see how it handles around the turns. Immediately I noticed this one has no rear end grip. It is a total drift machine. So again, all about these kind of small, micro, quick movements to kind of just get the kart to turn in. It's just not turning in. And the back wheel is just kicking out. And it's just like, I'm shaking my head there, just kind of in utter frustration. Man, it's frustrating. You pay money here. We're all paying customers. And not so much a frustration at the workers here. It's more about kind of the K1 overlords, the corporate, where I've gone to now several K1s. I've been to I think 3 of them, and there's always issues. And if they don't get their act together, I don't think they're going to be around too much longer. I'm honest. I swear, I really don't. Just because and look, I am a different type of clientele. I think the folks who show up for this GP are slightly different, where we really demand and we crave good racing and quality and consistency, whereas the average Joe or Jane shows up and just wants to have fun and probably never comes back. maybe that's where they get most of their revenue and they're fine with it. But for us people who, for those of us who like to race and really, carve out time each month for this and pay money, we really enjoy this, and so we want consistency. We want good carts. We want, I'm like slapping the cart here. I'm so angry. No handling here. Again, rear end kicking out. Just very tough to manage. As the session goes on, though, I think I find a groove, and I just work with what I have. I really try to work with getting the cart to turn in. Again, using these very unconventional steering inputs, where I'm just kind of like quick jerks to get the car in, and to keep it from sliding too far out and being lazy, because this cart is very lazy, so I have to be really kind of aggressive with it to get it to do what I want. So that's what I'm doing here. A little bit of traffic ahead. Let's see if I can get behind or get in front of folks. A little bit of a slowdown. Yeah, seems to be like they're switching a cart out, and that's this night. I think in every session they switched at least one, maybe two people's carts out each session, because they noticed problems with the carts. And kudos to them for actually noticing that and giving people fresh or better carts. In theory, I was hoping they were actually coming for me to swap out my cart, because it was, again, one of the all-time worst carts I've had in terms of handling. Just no grip on the rear end. Just could not turn in. And when you have no grip on the rear end, these are momentum carts. You have to carry your momentum through the corners. If you slow down too much to counter that oversteer in the corners where you're sliding out, you can't get back up to speed and recuperate that time. You have to be able to carry speed through all the corners. And if you can't, if you have to slow down in order to not spin out, it just totally destroys your time. So that's what I was kind of upset with here. Again, I was hoping they would swap my cart out, but they did not. So yeah, a few more laps left in this qualifying session. Let's see what happens here. All right, so we're moving again on the second round of qualifying, behind some traffic here. Let's see if I can put down somewhat of a decent lap. Pass by Old Patty there, and let's see here. So yeah, just trying to kind of find a rhythm with the car. You can see how wide I take it there. I'm almost slapping the wall there on that last turn, because I just can't keep the cart stuck to the ground. This was a particularly challenging corner. Again, did not want to overslow the cart, but had to kind of manage that speed coming into these corners with wide, aggressive turns coming out of them, because I could not afford to bump the walls here and completely look like an idiot, therefore losing a bunch of time. So, it can be fun to manage different carts. I do enjoy that, but the reality is, I'm competitive. I want to win here, and while this is just for fun, of course, it's not no real stakes here. I do want to win, and I do want to put down good lap times and improve. And unfortunately, when you get a different cart that handles completely different, you're lucky if you find a groove midway through the session. But I think in my case tonight, it took me till kind of the end of the sessions, maybe laps 10, where I was kind of finding my groove and figuring out how to manage these carts. But then by then it's kind of, the session's over, and then next session you're in a new cart. So yeah, at the end of the day, I was able to put down relatively a decent lap for the night. It was the second fastest of the night. So I started the race P2, second position, and I started behind Ben Davis. Kudos to Ben. He had a super fast lap, like incredibly fast, 21.2 something. Really, really strong qualifying lap. That put him on pole position for the night, which was like a clear winner given that time compared to everyone else. So yeah, I think my time was like a 21.3.4, I don't know, something in 21.3s. Nothing, not what I'm used to, but nevertheless, it got me P2. So yeah, I was pretty happy about that. And let's take a look at the race. All right, here we go. Race time. So again, starting P2 behind cart number 25 there. That's Ben. Again, he put in a really strong lap. Right now, I'm both warming up the tires and also I do this so I can get a good feel for the cart steering before we're at speed. We can't drive these carts at speed until the green flag drops, therefore until we're racing. And so since every cart's different, you want to have somewhat of a feel for how it handles, and you can't do that by going fast here because they're slowing us down. So I really try to get a feel for the steering as much as I can. Is it loose? Is it tight? How does it respond to my fast and aggressive inputs? So again, that's what I'm doing here, and hopefully putting some heat in the tires for when we get going. So yeah, this is the formation lap. The heart's starting to beat more here. Looks like they sped up our carts a little bit just to get us around this corner. But what's cool is we've been doing standing starts for the past couple races, which I think it seems like most people tend to enjoy. I enjoy them a lot. So yeah, let's see how it goes here. All right, here we go on the grid. I'm going to not make the same mistake as last time. I had my visor down, ready to go. And I have Eli in third place to my left. And I'm fearful that he's going to get a good start and kind of jump the position. Because if you look, you notice right where 25 is, start. And sure enough, he gets an incredible start and goes right in front of me. And now I'm starting third. That's exactly what I feared. Eli got a tremendous start off the line and just bolted in front of me. Oh, trying to avoid some traffic there. Oh, I lose a position. I'm now in fourth. Crazy start. Really upset about that start for me. Eli had an incredible start. I bump ahead here. Let's see if I can get ahead. Number 3. Nope, I couldn't there. Didn't want to be too aggressive in that turn. Let's see if I can make back some positions here. Luckily, easy overtake there. Get back P3. But again, I feel like I should be in P2 at least here, if not P1. So not the start I'm looking for, getting pushed out wide here. Lots of intense battles here. Definitely wanting to catch up to the front runners here because I feel at this point in the race, I should be up there. I don't know what happened on the start. Eli got a tremendous start. I feel like my reaction time was good, but just was not good enough. Maybe he had more power in the cart. In any case, my hope here is that the two folks up front will kind of battle themselves to the point where they slow each other down. That's always what you want when you're kind of in third. You can see here that I think that's Ben kind of spins out there. I kind of get ahead of him here. So now I'm back in P2, which is where I started. And so now it's about catching up to Eli, who's in P1, the one who got this tremendously good start. He's kind of breaking away here. So now it's about catching up to him. Notice I'm looking back to see how close the people are behind me, and a little slowdown. Something happened in the backfield with carts. But yeah, crazy start to the race. If you notice, that's Jeff over there pointing at me saying he's going to hunt me down. So Jeff and I are the kind of neck and neck. I'm by very slightly a small amount of points. I'm leading the championship. And Jeff is right behind me. He's hungry for his second championship, I think, at K1 speed. And so yeah, he's behind me. He started in 7th, and he made his way up the field really quickly, apparently. And as you can see, he's in 3rd. And so yeah, this was a unique night again. There were only 7 of us in this race because there were 14 total for the night. So they split us up into 2 equal groups. And I think a lot of people were in groups that they don't normally find themselves in. It was just like a different night. And so, yeah, Jeff started 7th. He made his way up quickly to 3rd. I started 2nd, dropped back to 4th at one point, but now I'm back in 2nd. And now my focus is catching up to Eli, who started in 3rd. He's the one who started right to my left and got this, again, great start, straight shot right up behind Ben, who was in the first position. And now we're just waiting to get restarted. But I'm definitely hoping that Jeff over there to my left stays at least that distance because he's absolutely quick. He was a NASCAR driver. He's a good race driver. And he's, hungry and wants to catch up to me. So let's see what happens here. Going to get going again and see if I can hold my position. All right, here we go. Warming up the tires again, getting ready for the restart. They're going to do a rolling restart here. So as we come around this corner, they're going to wave the green flag. And we're off. So again, I'm in 2nd position here, trying to catch up to Eli, who's right in front of me. and hopefully get this win. So I'm not sure what lap this is. It seems like we're about less than halfway through the race, so quite a ways to go. Getting closer here, really trying to. The theme of the night for me with my steering was just being really aggressive and just getting that front end to turn in without having the rear end spin out, lose grip too much. It was a very interesting challenge, but overall this kart, 43, did perform a lot better than the qualifying karts, which I was so glad about, because if, I was worried that it was just going to be another one of the qualifying karts with no grip at all. So this one luckily was better. If I had one of the karts that I had in qualifying during the race, I would probably be back in like 5th, 6th place right now. It would have been bad. So yeah, pretty pleased with the kart here, but let's see if I can catch up to Eli. Taking a few looks behind me to see where Jeff stands. I can't remember where he stands there, but at some point, either now or later, he backed off because his kart started to lose power. Although I don't think that has happened yet. I think at this point he's still closing the gap behind me. So I'm, both trying to catch up to the kart in front of me so I can overtake, and I'm also, waiting for a mistake to kind of take my chance. Right now I'm a little too far, but as the race goes on, I get closer to Eli, and you'll see I try to make some opportunities to overtake. But I'm also trying to play defense too, because I can't get past. So I notice I'm catching up to him, slowly closing the gap here. All right. Again, when you're going behind someone on this track who's, knows how to drive, it's all about just trying to make them, trying to force an error, and trying to capitalize on that, because there's really there's very little room to overtake, and so you have to be very deliberate. And you can see here I try, but didn't quite have it, so I cut back in. Probably could have, if I really wanted to, been really aggressive there, but I didn't want to be. I know how it is on the other end of that, and yeah, wasn't trying to be aggressive. So give him a little bump there. He knows I'm right up behind him here, so obviously trying to put the pressure on. I go wide here because I know Jeff has backed off, so he's not going to come up on the inside. Let's see what happens. Again, catching up to him in that hairpin. I notice he goes wide there, takes a very wide turn, which allows me to catch up. Unfortunately, not enough to put the move on. Now I'm really upset. So at this point, I was really finding a groove, and just waiting to pounce and capitalize on Eli's mistakes if he made any. But they slowed the race down, so that was not fun. Picking it back up here. Get a little bump behind me, and I bump Eli. I give him a wave to make sure he doesn't. I'm getting pushed out by Jeff here. Have to be really aggressive through that turn. So I think what happened there was I got bumped and I bumped Eli in front of me. So it was like this chain of reaction of bumps. That sent me wide and allowed Jeff to come up at the inside. I really had to muscle Jeff and keep him and hold him to the outside of the next turn, because otherwise I would have lost position. So that was a pretty intense little battle here. Now Jeff is right behind me. I know he is. So really, and Eli has kind of taken off. And so now it's, again, both about defense and offense, but that was the end of the race, as you can see. Crazy at the end there. In fact, let's go take a replay and watch that moment just one more time, because that was intense. All right, let's watch that replay again, of what happened towards the end of the lap, because that was super cool. So on the restart here, starting another lap, I'm right behind Eli. Right behind me is Jeff. We're all hunting for that first position. I get a bump here, I think, from Jeff. I bump Eli, push him out of the way. I'm wide now. Jeff comes up on the inside, or tries to, and I'm really muscling him here. You can see his calves flexing. We're all flexing muscles. It's a crazy moment. I really had to muscle Jeff out of the way and keep him from coming up on the inside there. But I did. And that's one thing I learned in this racing early on, I think in my first race. There's going to be contact if it's blatant contact, if you're just crashing into people, that's bad and they're going to stop you. But contact is inevitable. And I learned that on my very first race here back in December. And you kind of you gotta roll with the punches, and you have to be aggressive, but not overly aggressive. If you're not aggressive enough and someone kind of bumps you out of the way, but you're still neck and neck fighting for that position, you can't rely on the marshals or, quote unquote marshals, the track people to give you that position back. Just go for the position. Even if you think you might have bumped someone, go for the position and then trust that the race marshals or the track workers will give you the position back. Or will give the other person the position back and kind of correct it. I made that mistake several times, even in racing school, when I thought I got the black flag. And so I pulled into the pits during the race, but it wasn't for me, it was for someone else. So I screwed myself over. So when in doubt, one thing I learned, when in doubt, just race. Race hard, race for that position. Don't stop fighting. Let the track marshals, let the race directors, whoever the powers are at B during that race, let them decide what happens at the end. As long as you're not just being overly aggressive. But if you are, they're going to kick you out anyway. So race hard, race clean. If there's contact, that's okay. A little bit of contact, especially in these bumper carts where you can kind of get away with it. But just make sure that it's not too much contact and you're not really crashing people out. Anyways, finished the race in second position here, right where I started. I think I should have had first, but kudos to Eli for having that incredible start that really put him in position to win the race, and then for actually driving a great race and having some really good defense. So yeah, all in all, fun night, really fun night, lots of good battles, and can't wait for August.